check this out. I'm gonna deliver this message and then y'all gonna have to get over it. Do you understand? Get over it. All this stuff that you are saying I'm struggling with and all these different things, get the fuck over it. Like, why are you struggling? Because you've been something for however many decades and now you gotta pivot in another direction. You're comfortable. Get uncomfortable. You're like, I'm struggling because you're struggling to no longer remain comfortable. You are teaching yourself a whole new system of existence. Get the fuck over it and move forward. But that ain't even the message. The message is stop comparing yourself to your parents' successes or failures. Stop comparing this generation to past generations who had completely different obstacles that they had to overcome in order for us to take this lifetime for granted. Do you understand? I was talking to a friend who was saying, her parents worked extremely hard to provide for her as a child, and she feels she's not measuring up. We have to understand that our parents were not comfortable. We are the first comfortable, complacent generation. And because we are comfortable and complacent, and they did it because they introduced drugs, they did it because they transformed our music from self-destruction and progressive. Who you calling up to? I'm calling myself a B. So they have transmuted and all of our imagery into negative, derogatory imagery. So while our parents had imagery of progression and they fought for it, the unification, the black fist, that's the generations that we come from. That's not the generation we presently exist. The brainwashing that we have is not the brainwashing that they have. And what they had to go through, we shall overcome someday. We don't sing nothing about overcoming. We don't talk about no self-destruction. So stop comparing yourself from a generation who literally had to fight to give you the right to take your life for granted, who had to fight for the right for you to struggle with learning how to stop sitting in self-doubt. They didn't have time to sit in self-pity. They had to survive. They had to survive so that you could be here to take life for granted. So stop playing with your legacy. Stop playing with the sacrifices that the people before you made in order for you to be here and be so freaking comfortable that you will not continue the fight. Willie Lynch. If I get him here, I ain't even gotta keep him here no more. I could let him out the shackles, but I'ma always have him here until you choose different. Do you understand? It's on you to change the trajectory of your family line. And you choose how progressive you will be, what stumbling blocks you will have. But if you understand everything you've done up until this point has been a form of deception, that should be real easy to release. And what God told me is it's like Cyclops. Y'all know Cyclops from X-Men? When his powers first kicked in, he was like, and then, Xavier gave him the glasses and now his is under control. He can control his superpowers. That is what our life is like. We have lived our lives completely out of control and been disillusioned to the idea that somehow we are living within control. But we are just now coming into a space of controlling of self. And that is why it's so difficult, because we have actually never controlled ourselves. We have to experience in any particular emotion at any given time and actually choose how that emotion manifests. In the past, if we were angry, we were angry. And now we got to control our anger. We actually got to manifest our anger in a certain way that is productive for self and others. Patience. We got to control our patience or figure out how to be patient when we are innately patient. Love is patient. It's the very first expression of love, but we got to somehow practice patience. Why do we have to practice something we innately are, except where we have never actually expressed patience? So for us to say that we are struggling with anything, we are struggling with nothing. We've never tried. And the fact that I am 40 years old and I'm just now trying, I owe it to my legacy to figure it out. Because guess what? When I figure it out, I teach it to my children. And when I teach it to my children, they teach it to their children. And now my grandchildren, 3 generations, my great-grandchildren will grow and come into this lifetime free. They will be free. So do you understand? They released the chains, but they still got our mind. We are the generation that has been called to release us from this. Our ancestors were the generation that were called to release us from this. We got to release us from this. So if you knew that you still were in bondage, would you still struggle? If you knew your freedom, your fight, your ancestors died to get you all up out of them chains. That's what your ancestors did. Your ancestors died for your right to vote. That's what your ancestors did. Your ancestors were attacked by dogs. Your ancestors were tied to trucks and drugged down the street. I just watched that stuff in a TV show like, dang, I'm watching this in an action movie. What is it, The Beekeeper? I'm watching this shit in an action movie. They actually did that to Emmett Till. I don't know how I feel about this scene right now. Thinking of the craziest thing you could do to torture a human is what these motherfuckers did to my ancestors, and now I'm watching it for entertainment. The desensitization of it all. But the point I'm making is, our ancestors bled and died for our right to say, I'm struggling, I'm stuck, I can't do it, I'm comfortable. Your future generations are on your back. How you gonna live up to that expectation of knowing that your legacy will either be born into bondage or will be born free? I know what my ancestors did, and I know what I'm willing to do. And I'm willing to help and take you along with me. But you gotta be willing to get out of the fucking comfort zone. Get the fuck over it.